Okay, how long is it? Aw, 15 minutes. Okay, it's gonna take us 4 hours to get through it. I joke, but the fucking 2 hours that we did was literally just was only the no, not pull it up there. Fuck, god damn it. Aw, what a cute. Aw, what a cute little open. Oh, cringe. What a cute little intro. I fucking love that.
And I think it's finally time I threw my hat in the ring and talked about recent events.
Okay.
It's time we talked about the taxes folder.
You can see this is an example of the kind of structure that I'm referring to.
Okay, I'm only kind of kidding. What I want to talk about today is identity in streamer spaces and how you can fall into a cycle of defending behavior that you wouldn't otherwise support. I also want to talk about how I think you can get out of it. But first, a little more about me and my Twitch politics background.
Okay.
I first got into
look
Twitch
at that. Look how fucking professional this shit looks.
Around the time of the election when I started watching Vosh. At that time, I couldn't fathom people watching streams for long.
Okay, sorry. One tangent, I swear to God, we'll continue. I never realized that Destiny's Dono sound, where it was like, uh-oh, didn't say Simon Says, was Vosh. Every time I see that fucking video, I'm in fucking tears. So fucking funny. Sorry. Oh, why? No, you're not gonna play.
More than 2 hours, let alone 8, 9, 10 hours, seemed completely crazy to me at the time. But after I found Demon Mama, I found myself doing exactly that. Even though I was never a huge chatter, this was the first streamer community that I felt like I was really a part of. I even called myself an imp. And I remember getting shit for that for what are probably obvious reasons.
Am I in there? I'm in there?
Mama, I found
I saw Carol.
Or as some of you might remember him as Heem.
Ooh, Heemy.
He was himself a Dylan Burns orbiter, an unapologetic Destiny fan, and a filthy, filthy capitalist.
Hell yeah.
But his community was
doing well.
The one that really clicked for me. It became my community, and that community was so well-rounded and robust that to this day I'm still trying to emulate it. I met a lot of good folks out of Heem's community, and
that's fair. I will say your community gives Heem's
are good friends and great chatters. That community helped to round out some of the more outlandish ideals that I'd taken from Demon Mama and to a lesser extent Vosh.
Sorry, once again, have you ever seen the video where it's like the Morrowind and it's like Outlander, 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 scum. It's like, you'll fit in great here, and he looks just like the guard captain. That's sorry. Every time everybody says Outlander, sorry. Come on, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this, YouTube? Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me, YouTube.
So if you want to blame somebody for why I'm a dirty, dirty lib, you can blame Heem. Now, Heem doesn't stream anymore, but I do. I started streaming around the start of 2022, and I've been slowly building my community ever since.
Yeah, actually, you've been building pretty good.
They found out that I beat my cat.
Based.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi.
I beat the shit out of Torby. She likes it.
I support eugenics.
Oh,
I'm
based.
not racist.
Yes, you are. It's okay.
I'm just realistic. I support incest, and so I got a visit from
your dad.
The police. He went off into the wilderness to get his degree and become a doctor and have a kid and I guess live his own damn life. But before
Who fucking lives their own lives?
Start to see my own community as a replacement for Heem's, something happened that made me change my whole perspective on being a VGGer.
You had a Baja Blast from Taco Bell.
Heemer. The taxes folder. Okay, so for the two of you who don't know what the taxes folder situation is, let me give you a quick summary. In early 2024, Vosh accidentally opened his downloads folder on stream, revealing that next to his taxes folder was an impressive collection of AI porn featuring lolly subjects and horsecocks. The horsecocks were problematic For those people who didn't already know about Vosh's predilection for horsecock references, but the more pressing thing for concerned VGGers was the fact that their favorite streamer might be a lolicon, when Vosh himself had in the past equated liking lolly with more troubling implications.
I think that if you have an interest in that sort of stuff, you should definitely be checking yourselves to why. You know, like, the thing that really bothers me about this shit, apart from the fact that anytime you want to look at, like, hentai on a hentai site, you have to, like, negate the tag.
God, you know what? That is like, it's like one of those you become the thing you sought out to destroy, you talk about. I always worry people are going to see me like that, because I do a lot of shit in the community. I spend a lot of time, and it's like, you know who else did stuff in their community with a lot of fucking people? Yeah, that's right, John Wayne Gacy. Okay, it's only a fucking matter of time. And it's just, it's something like, I'm very leery and very, like, I don't know. It's just crazy how often it seems to happen. But maybe it's like psychic shit, right? Like you're only seeing all the hits, and you're ignoring all the misses in which people speak out against things, and they're not those things. But it is just crazy to see like the correlation of people speaking out against things, and then it's like, oh shit, they're actually into that. That's fucking wild. YouTube, why are you doing this, YouTube? YouTube, you're pissing me off. YouTube.
Lolly, and thus 50% of the site's content. The thing that bothers me is people who pretend there's no relationship whatsoever between, like, drawn lolly shit and actual attraction to children. Of course there's a relationship between those things. It's ridiculous to pretend otherwise. So they need to be aware of that, if anything.
Vosh famously excused himself by saying that he thought that they were short-stacked goblins. People canceled him left and right. Ethan from H3H3 put out a massive hit piece, and the VGG community has kind of been in a fortress arc ever since.
Man, I'll be honest with you, there was a part of me that actually had no idea Vosh was still streaming, because I hadn't seen, like, I hadn't even had, like, would you want to watch this pop up in my YouTube feed? I just assumed that he just peaced out.
Aside from providing Twitchpoll with endless memes, the taxes folder situation was the first in which I had the space and distance to observe the VGG community and see how they were handling this pretty damning blow to their streamer man. I was initially fascinated by the different types of VGGers that emerged out of the aftermath. I even made this mural board and talked to some of my streamer friends about it at the time, because I was trying to put my finger on what was bothering me about the situation. And keep in mind, by this point, I wasn't a part of VGG at all, and I was barely a part of Demon Mama GG. It was easy for me to see why Vosh's behavior was bad, and his subsequent scramble and attempt to explain and defend himself wasn't anywhere close to being enough. I got too bogged down with the outcomes of VGG chatters who decided to stay in his community, and I ended up shelving that idea. But this concept has been cooking in my head since that time, and it wasn't until recent events that it crystallized into a workable framework that I call the defense cycle.
Ooh.
Let's walk through this quickly, and just for fun, we're going to use Mr. Horsecock himself as an example. Let's say you have an incredibly popular but also incredibly problematic streamer. Over time, the community that doesn't find their behavior a deal breaker in one way or the other finds ways to defend and rationalize it. Well, this was a clip chimp. He apologized for that one. Get over it. Okay, but this was actually a normal response given the circumstances. Over time, these debunk logs, as I like to call them, get longer and longer as more and more bad behavior gets excused away.
Good call, Ice Beans. That's absolutely what happens. It's almost, yeah, you're right. You stack excuse upon excuse upon excuse, and then you interweave them together so that if you knock down one of those situations, it actually doesn't counter what's being said, because it's actually being propped up by another aspect, right? It's like tearing down one wall of a house. it doesn't matter because you have the other walls still standing, and they'll just reinforce the walls that are still standing and build other walls within those walls. And you're right, it ends up like binding in on each other. No, it's good. Oh my god, I'm just gonna...
And because of the unique position the streamer is in, they are able to give their supporters the language that they need to normalize the behavior. In return, the supporters that stay continue to rationalize future bad behavior and further limit their own ability to see when their streamer man takes an L. Now, if you're on the other side, pushing back against these foot soldiers, I mean fans, you might be tempted to engage with some of these rationalizations. Maybe you're attempting to break them out of the programming, or maybe you're just tired of the sweeping for their streamer man. Unfortunately for you though, you're not going to be able to debate bro them out of that position. And I
they didn't get debate broed into
why they're participating in the defense cycle in the first place. There are many reasons why people in this space feel like they belong to the communities that they're in. They might have strong community ties, or they might really believe in the value of the work that the community is doing. Maybe they just really like the streamer figure. Maybe the streamer's work was the thing that pulled them out of a toxic mentality and onto a more healthier path. As a content creator, you rely on this phenomenon to keep your community together and hopefully growing. And when allegations come up, it makes sense that your community would come to your defense. Generally speaking, I think that this is a perfectly fine dynamic. Where I think it starts becoming an issue is when the big kahuna of your community starts displaying seriously problematic behavior. Behavior that you wouldn't otherwise defend. Whatever your reason is for calling yourself a VGGer or DGGer or Hemer or anything else, you can very easily fall into this
or a CC'er
defense cycle, and the longer that it is that you're in it, the harder it's going to become for you to get out of it. And let's be real with ourselves. This isn't something that's limited to Vosh. I could very easily recreate this cycle with content creators who have their own problematic behaviors. As a viewer, I think that being in this defense cycle can warp your understanding of what bad behavior looks like and how people should...
Well, and here's the crazy part. When you're doing something like this, right? Like the situation with Vosh, right? When you have these defenses and they have all these reasons for defending you, and they are defending you, and you're giving them more reasons to defend you, it is a form of inoculation later on for other bad behavior that person is going to do, right? Because this is some of the frustration with like Hassan is he's so... At some point you actually have to almost just stop criticizing them and ignore them completely. Like, don't give them any attention at all, because the criticism itself becomes a form of self-reinforcement of the community. And good golly, Miss Molly, that's fucking hard to do too, because especially if you feel like you have a duty to push back against it, because it's a lot like conspiracy theories, right? Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. You could replicate this with anybody. The thing is it's almost like, because conspiracy theories are almost the exact same way, where you have these people that are like, they fucking so conspiracy minded. They'll tell you all these different conspiracies and things going on and backroom deals, and then you point to like a legitimate conspiracy, and it's like, well, I don't know if that's really a conspiracy. It's like, well, what do you mean? It has all the other hallmarks of the thing you're talking about, especially manga people, of all the other things you're talking about, like it's happening real time in front of you, and they're like, well, no, that's not actually happening. That's not actually a conspiracy, because they've been inoculated all the way along to only see conspiracies of a certain form, right? That's why you'll never have MAGA people being like, wow, look at Trump, conspiring to do all this shit, because A, it's not a problem to them, and B, the only people that can engage in conspiratorial actions are the people poised against Trump. So it is a weird inoculation that comes to a problem where somebody becomes almost God tier like, acknowledging problems of everybody else and destroying these reasons, but when given reasons against their own kind of mindsets and issues with the people they enjoy, it's not there, and it's wild. It's wild to behold. So Like, poor computer's got too many things
respond
going.
to allegations of misconduct. I know that Twitch poll is rife with memes and edgy humor and wild hypotheticals that would turn away most normies, but at some point you have to admit that some of the behaviors that we as viewers defend are behaviors that
crazy.
we wouldn't tolerate in our own
Anybody,
lives, or
nope.
from our own friends and peers, or from the people that we look up to. And if you're a content creator, this kind of cycle can put you on a self-destructive path where the only people in your community are people who
Yes, men.
continue to tolerate
Yep.
your bad behavior.
Yep.
Beyond that, your content can drastically shift too, as the drama and defense of your behavior becomes the content. A
Yep.
really good example of someone whose content has drastically shifted in this way is Ethan from H3H3.
He really forced me to do all this shit, man. Like, but the world needs to know that he's actually the worst. If you think I'm just making this video out of spite, you're right. This is a spite video. But it's all true.
King.
When the taxes folder situation
Jesus.
happened, as I was putting together the Miro board to try to sort
least
out
he's
my
honest.
thoughts, I came across this video from President Sunday called
Oh my
Why
God,
I'm
President.
Done with Vosh. In it, he outlined the events as they happened from
It's
his
a name I haven't heard in a
perspective,
long time.
And he said a couple of things that were pretty interesting.
I didn't do what I normally would do and make a judgment. I didn't condemn Vosh. I didn't believe he was that person. So I waited for Vosh to say something else, something that would fix it. I don't know what I was hoping Vosh would say. I guess I really was just hoping for some explanation. Completely unconvincing. I still waited. There was a moment in Ethan's second stream where Ethan pointed out that
If you're friends with someone in real life and you have history and you have rapport, and if something
Wife, you're embarrassing me.
Yeah, Callie, you're embarrassing me. She doesn't care.
comes up that's really concerning, you would talk to your friend. But these are not my friends. These are people online that I know. And even saying I know them is kind of stretching it.
these are not my friends. These are people online that I know. And even saying I know them, kinda stretching it.
From President Sunday's perspective, he initially gave Vosh the benefit of the doubt because of the community ties that they shared and their perceived friendship. He said he was angry because he saw Vosh's lack of an adequate response as an abandonment of that community and its values. As he put it, Vosh was happy to let other people throw themselves on grenades in his defense. On one hand, I think President Sunday was on the right track here. He identified that there was a framework of parasociality and friendship that would explain why community members would come to the defense of their central figure, at least those that wouldn't come to their senses and leave. And ultimately, to President Sunday, Vosh taking advantage of the generosity that was granted by that relationship was the final straw that broke the camel's back.
Everyone pays for what Vosh has done, except Vosh. Because even by just trying to be fair and to give him a chance to explain himself, I have been accused of parasocially defending Vosh myself. But the thing about parasocial relationships is that it's extremely hard to tell you're in one from the inside.
But I don't think
Just about
President
to say.
Sunday went far enough with this idea. Parasociality, or the friendship angle, is just one reason why someone might engage in the defense cycle, and in my opinion, what that reason is will change how you can ultimately escape it. At the time the Vosh stuff happened, I still considered myself a hemer, even though by that point he had already left streaming to go and get a life. And afterwards, I stopped seeing myself as a part of any one content creator's community. Today, even
good, that's
though
healthy.
I'm building my own community, and no, we are not called what you're thinking of right now. I can probably expect my community to come to my defense during drama, but I still have a responsibility to learn from my mistakes
got me sad.
and not let my community shape my future behavior for the worse. As a viewer or peer, I still connect and collaborate with other creators and communities in this space. I might even take on a few labels to a certain extent. But again, I still have a responsibility to make sure that I'm not trapped in a defense cycle of behavior that I don't support. And if you're still watching this video, I'm not expecting you to stop watching anyone or change how you consume their content or cancel anyone publicly. I'd just like to invite you to consider some things. Why are you here? Why do you feel like you belong? Do you find yourself defending behavior that you wouldn't otherwise support? And most importantly, is all of this fulfilling? Or do you think you could start looking elsewhere for what you really wanted out of all of this? Could you watch literally anything else? Thank you for watching. This was my first serious video essay, and if you liked it, please like and subscribe. So
All right, Ice Beans. I'll like... Am I even sub to you on YouTube? I don't fucking know. But no, I think it was a good video. I think it's true. I think unfortunately a lot of people... Oh my god, I'm not even subscribed. Oh my god, I can't subscribe. You're almost at where I am. What the fuck? Can't have that. Yeah, I think it is. I think a lot of people kind of, especially the problem is too, is like a lot of people, they live their life online, and I feel like that's where I was about three years ago when I stopped streaming. Is I was, a lot of the shit I was engaging with was just purely online, and then it was like, shit, I gotta build a better foundation to do this shit, because I think when you get trapped in these communities, yes, you get trapped in the excuses that you make for them, but you also it's a little bit of a perverse incentive to continue defending them because you don't want to lose the little bit of community that you might have struggled to build. And the idea for a lot of people of destroying what is going to be large parts of their social and routine-ish life is devastating. It really is. And I think that's the unfortunate part, is that people have built institutional structures for themselves around people that they otherwise wouldn't defend in real life, because those institutionalized kind of structures that they built for themselves wouldn't exist. Like if you had a friend doing something, you might be more willing to push back against that friend if it wasn't going to destroy your whole friend group. But if it was going to destroy your whole friend group, you're probably less likely to push back against or say something. Normal people, not myself so much. Because, you know me, I'll go scorched earth on everybody.
That's why the wife's laughing in the background.
Yeah, that's okay. I think it's really hard. And then, when you're met with that, that kind of ugly prospect of that happening to you, you're going to be a lot more willing to buy into even bad arguments, thinking they're good arguments, because whether you're conscious of it or not, you just don't want those things to happen. And it is really hard to push back against. And I think it's good that when you like doing this stuff is, I'll be cordial with people, I'll be nice with people, but if I truly think you've done something wrong, I'm going to let you know. I'm going to say something. I'm not going to, I don't try to mince words. I really don't. I might try to be tactful sometimes, not all the time, by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not perfect. But boy, it would be nice if people were not as routinely set around content creators. I know that's one thing Benny Boy had said. It'd be like, oh, if you had a regular routine, my wife would watch you. And I was like, well, I understand, but I don't know. That's just, it makes sense to have a routine streaming and doing videos and stuff. But in the other sense, I want people, at the end of the day, I even said it last time I was streaming, I want people to go and engage in their community and watch me as a secondary thing, as more of a form of entertainment than it is a structure of their life. And I don't know how to get people to do that on their own without them putting, you can't do that for somebody. People have to put in the work for that. You can't force people to go and live their own life and do things outside of social media if there's no desire or no willingness to put in that work themselves. You can't push those people out. And unfortunately, they're always going to fall into bad psychological traps like that, having those perverse incentives kind of existing. But no, that was a really good video, Ice Beans. I think that in terms of a video essay, I think that was really good.